Welcome back to
Off the Rails. I'm Justine.
I'm Aysha. And today we're going to talk about how we got into architecture. But before we get into that, Justine was just about to tell me a story about his dad and the mic. So I want to know about it. And I cannot wait to hear about it. So why don't you start?
It wasn't really about the mic, but like my parents obviously are very excited that I'm able to do a podcast at Northeastern. So this is going to be cool. But my dad had mentioned like maybe stay away from swearing because we don't want to look terrible to our future employers because we don't want to give off that image of us.
Yeah. I mean, I was just saying that I was telling her that don't worry, I won't swear. So my favorite curse word today is gonna be architecture.
Curse word?
Yeah. What's your favorite curse word? Probably architecture. So I'm keeping it PG-13 for everyone to see. Also, we're keeping an image for AAAS.
N-word.
N-word, yeah. I mean, they said it was fine.
That's true.
So not for them.
To protect our own image currently.
Yeah, I look too innocent for that. Let's start with introductions. Why don't you tell me about you, Justine?
Oh my gosh.
What year are you?
Thank you so much for asking, Aysha. I am a fourth year architecture major at Northeastern, as we both are.
We both are fourth years. Yeah.
We
started the same year.
That's
2019. No,
2021.
Sorry,
guys. My gosh.
That's when COVID hit. I'm like, everything's blurry.
That's true, actually.
Between COVID and coming to college, really.
That's actually true. That's really true. No, I'm a fourth year architecture major. I'm also a history minor, which I didn't actually start doing until my second year because
very cool.
I looked at the idea of becoming a math minor for a hot sec, which was not going to be fun if I did that, I think. No, I actually, my grandfather is an expert at math, and I think I got his math gene because I actually really love math too, but I don't think I would love it if I took 5 years and like up to Calc 3 or Calc 4.
Yeah, and then come back to your grandpa.
Oh my
just
gosh.
Talking about math.
Yeah, no, I think that math is his love language, and on some level I really want to impress him, but I don't think that Calc 3 and Calc 4, for the sake of my sanity, I think.
Yeah, we're seeing that in structures right now. We're taking the structures class.
History is a lot better on my psyche, and I find it super interesting. So what about you, Aysha?
You're a history geek.
I totally am a history geek. Oh my gosh.
We're going to do an episode on history for sure. We're both history geeks, as my friend Ryan would say. I'm a math geek, you know. Well, we love all that type of stuff. I think it's just like something we both like agree on. Like we just get super excited about history.
Well, we just came back from Europe.
Yeah, we did.
Thank you, Northeastern, for sending us to Europe.
We'll do an episode on that too. Don't worry.
And we were pretty much just like freaking out.
That's how we met.
Yeah, that is how we met.
We'll get into that too.
We should get into that. That's a great idea.
We should get into that this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, introduce yourself, because I feel like I've just been talking about myself right now.
No, it's lovely to hear about you. So I am Aysha, as I said. I am a architecture major too, of course, fourth year, of course, with a minor in interactive design. Why? Because I was like, maybe coding is for me. It's not. But I think I could get some money out of that as a side geek.
That's true.
From not having anything from architecture too, because the money.
You know what's crazy is that we like one of my friends.
Yeah.
She's a computer science major.
Oh, we know.
Yeah, and you know how much she makes for her co-op?
Probably $50 an hour.
Like, I think it was 40 or 50. I can't remember, I think I zoned out after she told me that number because I was like,
I could never imagine it's like an internship too.
I know, and I was like, oh my gosh, like that's just as a co-op. Like I was happy to work for
they could have given me
I really just wanted experience.
$0, and I would have been, of course, anything for you.
Yeah.
But we also have to get into that.
That's true.
That's
we have a lot of topics to cover.
We're
oh my gosh.
Like, giving ideas here.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Sorry, I cut you off so rudely.
No, you're good. So I'm an interactive design minor. I also really like thinking about design and, like, experience use. So I think it was cool. I wanted to do it. I think it's pretty different from, like, what I like. I was actually going to do politics for a very long time. I'm a political science major. I'm still very into politics. I think I just went for architecture, but we'll get into that, I guess, as we talk about why architecture and not all the other options that we had.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get to know me better as we go with this podcast. Like, stuff is just gonna pop up
true.
And conversation, but we can start with how we met, actually, and then get into the architecture.
Give everybody a little backstory. Of how we met.
Yeah, because why are we here? Like,
that's true.
Yeah, which is
the
crazy.
People deserve to know.
The people deserve to know how these two beautiful humans met. Yeah,
that's true.
Smart architecture girlies.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I fear that the story of how we met will be making fun of one of our other friends, because how we met was bonding over how one of our friends does not know how to make pasta.
Yeah.
For sure. But we love her dearly.
Yeah.
But boy, was that that was an interesting experience.
Yeah, for sure.
To see.
I'll start from my perspective.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, because I
love to hear it from your perspective.
So basically, I was working with this friend. I won't mention names, but she knows who she is. We're working together over co-op, and then we had this, like, potluck dinner that we had to, like, cook for and all that. So I decided to make a pie, but I needed, like, a blender, and I didn't have one. But she had one. So I just came over because I really needed to make that pie, which is a Costa Rican recipe for all of you. I can give you the details on that. It's so easy to make. But, it
was super good.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. It was, I mean, I don't even like it. I don't even eat that. But it's good. I feel like it's good. I just don't
For
like
the sweet tooth
pie.
people in the crowd,
it
was actually very, very delicious.
Yeah, I'm a salty person, I guess, in real life, and when it comes to my palate.
Yeah.
Also, there's something that we should mention.
I actually can't believe it's gone almost 8 minutes before we've actually talked about that.
Wait.
Neither one of us are American.
Yeah, we should say that. And that's what I was gonna say. Something that just popped out in my mind. It was like, as I was saying that word, it's like, well, I'm not from the U.S. I'm not American. My first language is not English.
Same.
So, same for Justine.
Yeah.
First language, French.
Yeah.
She's actually
French Canadian.
Justine Deschamps. For everybody listening, she's French.
I am French. I'm French Canadian.
Yeah.
Not from Quebec.
For all the haters.
Against popular belief, I'm actually from Ontario.
Yeah. We love Ontario. Never been, but.
Oh, it's so nice.
I believe you.
Yeah. Well, I just came back. I realized how much I missed Ontario. It might just be the stress from school, but I went to Canada for like a whole weekend, and like my acne cleared up, and man, was I so stressless, and it was so nice. But that's beside the point. We didn't go to. I'm very boring compared to you. I'm Canadian.
Oh, I think that's exciting.
But you are.
Oh, well, I am. It's a complicated story, guys. So let's go back to my roots where I was born. Well, let's go back to my parents, actually. My mom is Costa Rican. My dad is Pakistani. Both born in those countries and raised there. My dad moved to Latin America, to Peru, when he was 18 years old, then met my mom in Nicaragua. But besides the point. I am ethnically half Costa Rican, half Pakistani, which means I'm South Asian and Latina. If you are one of my community, I've never met one, please hit me up. Would love to bond and talk about trauma and experiences, I guess. But yeah, I actually was born in Costa Rica too, like my mom, but I moved around a lot. So my parents moved to Nicaragua because that's where my dad worked. Then I moved back to Costa Rica for a year. Then when I was 13 years old, like, I moved to the DR, the Dominican Republic, for the people that don't know acronyms. Then lived there for a while, then moved back to Costa Rica for a year again, and then moved back to the Dominican Republic and had my 3 last years of high school there before deciding to come to Boston. But yeah, my parents moved to Spain after that. No, Pakistan and then Spain after that. So I've really been all over the place. Dragging bags is my...
expertise.
Yeah, it's my expertise. I know how to move around a lot. And yeah, I know how to pack a bag. And
that's a good skill to have.
Yeah, I do have a lot of stuff. Sorry, guys. Yeah, a lot of stuff. But I manage. And I have friends that help me here. So that's nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move into how we met, because we were...
Well, I also, because going back to architecture, because that's the root of this podcast, yeah. I think that these different backgrounds has really shaped the way that we shaped shaped our background, our perception of, like, what architecture is. And yeah, you're right. It me being Canadian definitely impacted the fact that I was coming to the U.S. for the States, which sounds really bad when I say that,
yeah.
But...
well,
we'll get into it for sure.
There's different stories for sure.
Yeah.
We're happy to share.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah. You were doing well explaining how we first met. You were making a pie.
I was making a pie, a lemon pie, Costa Rican recipe. Probably is not. I don't care, but I call it Costa Rican recipe. So I was gonna borrow the blender. At one point I was like thinking maybe I'll just take the blender home and just do it by myself. But then I was like, wow, that's too much work.
How much our lives would have changed if you just decided to take home the blender.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We would have still met, but
that's true. Yeah. But just not trauma bonding like that in that way.
I guess. Let me get into that. So then I just went to my friend's house. Started making the pie, and there Justine was just sitting there doing work, of course, as she does. That architecture
really does
work.
Explain my character, actually. That makes sense for me.
She was doing work. And then, our friend needed to buy some stuff for her pasta that she was going to make for potluck.
Oh, my gosh. I remember it like it was yesterday. She was making this truffle mac and cheese, and it sounded... And at the end, it looked very delicious. And I'm sad that I was never able to try it to this day. But you got to try it. And I'm eternally jealous because of that.
I got to try it, but I also got to help. Because
that's true.
It could have turned into a mess.
Yeah.
The recipe
very
was
quickly.
There. But the hands weren't there.
Yeah.
And preface, I hate cooking. I hate having to cook.
Which is such a shame, because you're such a good cook.
Yeah, we live together too.
That's true.
We'll get into that.
We do live together now.
But also, we didn't say which year we were. Like, we were like...
Oh, this is...
End of second year co-op, so between our third year.
Yeah,
We met in our third year.
This was like November, December, because it was like right before we finished our co-op. Yeah. Wow. Time flies. That's crazy.
Actually, that was like yesterday.
Bro, it's not... We haven't even been friends for a full year. Yeah. That's
and
actually
we're already
insane.
Making a podcast.
I know.
And we live together.
That seems like a really like a big relationship step to make a podcast together.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
This could go wrong, guys. This could go really bad, and someone could take over this podcast.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So, I was saying...
We went to the market.
Our friend was buying a ton of
olive oil,
and I was like, you don't need more. You don't even need a bottle.
Like an extensive amount
and
of
she was
olive
like, but
oil.
I'd rather have more. What if it finishes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do a voice.
Well, she already has olive oil.
Oh, yeah.
In her apartment.
But she needed more.
And she said that she was afraid that half a bottle of olive oil was going to not be enough. So she decided to get 2 more bottles.
But I stopped her from getting 2. She only got 1. Yeah. So don't worry, guys. Olive oil is also expensive. So yeah. I was just like taking care of her wallet. Whatever. Then we go back. And that's when we started talking a little bit more. I like started playing a movie, and you can give your insight on this.
Oh my gosh.
I'm into film.
Now.
No, I'm not. Actually, scratch that. I'm not into film. I don't want anyone to come for me because they're going to be like, well, which director, this and this and this. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to say That's love fair. Movies.
No one fact check Aysha on some movies.
Please don't. I do have an extensive knowledge of movies outside of the American
I think you just have very good taste.
Oh, I do.
Yeah. It's everything. Very evident that you have very good taste. So, my perspective, starting from the very beginning, I went over to our friend's place because I, at the time, lived out in Waltham, Massachusetts, which is an actually very adorable town, but I had no friends that went to school like with me in that area, so I would usually come into Boston to spend the weekends. And the sweetheart that she would let me stay at her place like way too often. So I was there. I was doing work. I think I had spent like the day there just working online, and then later that day, our friend goes, oh, yeah, like one of my friends, Aysha, is going to come over. We have a potluck for work. And, so if you want to help us cook and bake, like, you're more than welcome to. And I said, that sounds great. And because she was asking. That was a scream for help from her. That was like, please help me cook this.
Yeah,
that's true.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Because I think that was a good analysis for sure. Because so Aysha comes over and we start talking, and at first I didn't actually think that she liked me because she only spoke to our friend in Spanish because both of them speak Spanish.
Okay, purposes on this, I'm gonna make a pause right there because our friend, she like talks to me in Spanish, so then I respond in Spanish.
Like the nice person you are.
Yeah, I usually speak in English when I'm like surrounded by people because I don't like excluding people.
That's true.
But she was speaking me in Spanish, so I just try to respond in the language that I was spoken to. So.
But my problem is that I'm an overthinker, like chronic overthinker. So I was like, oh, okay.
This was like 5 minutes into being there, and she was already thinking I was hating her.
But we continued. We went to the grocery store, and then I think I ended up getting some kind of like snacks for like the movie, and
which I didn't think you wanted to watch a movie. But I was like, I don't care.
I was really skeptical because at the beginning when you said, let's watch like a thriller, I was like, I really don't like thrillers usually. Yeah, and I was like, ooh, okay.
Thriller, yeah.
But I was like, I could either just try it, might as well, and like see if I like it.
Or horror.
Because
she hates horror.
I don't like horror.
And I love horror, psychological horror. I love a lot of genres. But
it took me like 10 years to actually start liking movies though. So I am slowly but surely getting to it. I've started to really like thrillers after the movie that you showed me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Then you can go ahead and say.
Because, okay, what's it called? It's the one with...
It's on Netflix. It's the one with Sandra... No, Sandra. What's the girl from Notting Hill?
Julia Roberts?
Julia Roberts. Yeah, that's the girl. And then...
Ethan Hawke?
Ethan Hawke. Yeah. The premise is like a Friends thing, and...
Well, that's...
It's the end of the world, and...
Yeah.
It all goes back to Friends. Like the series.
That's true.
Like the
it
show,
starts and
Friends.
ends with Friends. That's
yeah,
true.
So...
Which is what got me, because I love Friends. Yeah. I am a basic person.
I don't hate Friends. I don't have that love like she does. You liked it?
So we watched the movie, and
she was paying attention to it.
Oh, Leave the World Behind.
Leave the World Behind.
It was the one where like there's a bunch of Teslas just crashing into each other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
No, and we were, because I remember one of the commentators were watching this and we're like, wow, this must have cost so much money. But also we now know who sponsors the movie. For sure.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah.
That is very true.
But all in all, I tried something that I didn't think I was going to like because of Aysha. I actually ended up really liking the movie. I also still think of that movie, like, to this day of, like,
I think
it's
you
crazy.
Always mention it when we're, like, talking about, like, how we met. But
that's true.
I don't even talk about that.
Wow, Justine, what happens when you actually, like, try out stuff? That's crazy.
Yeah, Justine, you're so Canadian.
I know. That's okay. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a compliment to me. But anyways, so that's how we met. And then we ended up going on a semester abroad together.
Well, the semester abroad wasn't planned. Like, we just saw each other. We didn't even talk about after that. But my friend, she was telling me how Justine was also going to come over to Spain. So we kind of, let's explain how that process kind of works.
Yeah.
Just like a general idea.
feel
like they just like have this group of like probably, let's take 10 people.
I also
then they
think
split it in half.
I think this is an episode in its own. We can have an episode that's like just called Meet the Hosts or something like that, so that we can feel more personable because we are.
Okay, so going back, they like just split us up into groups. So like half of my, like not half, like most of my friends went on the other group. To be
so fair, originally Northeastern tried to do it that it was 50-50, but a lot of people switched over because when we were applying for co-ops, the other semester was going to Spain. And there's a lot of people that if you couldn't get a co-op because it was slim pickings out there, they were like, well, guess you're going to Spain. So it ended up being like 20 people were in our semester going to Spain with us.
Yeah.
And there was like, I think 40
which
upwards.
That shows how many people only got co-op. Like 20 people only got co-ops.
I know, that's crazy. That's actually insane.
No, I haven't thought about it.
No, I know.
We're winners. Sorry for the people that didn't. You're amazing. You did the best you could. Honestly, better if you try co-op after Spain. I bet you got much more experience that I had.
Oh, absolutely.
So, but then they split us up. I just ended up in the group that I didn't really talk to.
It was based on last name.
Yeah, it's based on last name. And
if your last name was like A to L, I think you went in one group, and then the rest went into the other group.
And sadly, my name is a C.
Mine's a D, so
yeah,
works out well for us, I guess.
Yeah.
We had a great group. You can't deny that.
No. Oh my God! Please, everybody who's from Spain
was amazing.
Don't take the point of me saying like, oh, my friends were in the other side as like I didn't want to be with you guys.
I feel like everyone went through that though, because I had a lot of friends I was really sad that I wasn't going to see for a full year.
Yeah.
Because they were in Spain when we were on co-op, and then we were in Spain when they were on co-op.
They
and we just wouldn't have seen each other.
They separation, long distance friendship.
Yeah.
But I was really like sad.
Stronger.
Yeah. But then I was kind of skeptical of the group. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest.
Well, no, that's fair because no one really knew each other.
I knew
all that well
of some people. I knew of you, but I didn't really. I thought you were cool, and that was it. Like I didn't really have like a made up opinion on you, except for like, oh, she's cool,
and she cook.
Seems like, oh yeah, and I that really stuck with me. Like, oh, she is a cook.
Oh, thanks.
But then I did have like one of my friends that I was the closest with that I knew from freshman year. But like we already planned like living together and whatever, and then in Spain is when we got to know each other really.
So your apartment had 3 roommates. I'm pretty sure I became an honorary roommate because instead of going back to my apartment, I would always go back to your place.
Yeah, we were 5 in my apartment.
Well, you guys also just hosted all the time.
Oh, we did. I feel like we had the nicest place to host.
You had a gorgeous apartment.
I feel like it's just like all of the people at the apartment wanted to host.
That's true.
And wanted to do things.
Yeah.
So we just like did it that way. And I feel like the guys, you know who you are, the guys who just come over, which is our dear friends now, they have a place in my heart now, I guess.
Yeah. I think Spain really like gave us the friendships that we were looking for. Like I can't imagine not being friends with people
from Spain.
Like now, I can't imagine my life here without everybody.
Well, I
without
feel
our
like,
core group.
I feel like
who everybody knows who they are for sure.
Yeah, I feel like architecture is like kind of like a high school, but less drama. Like no drama, honestly. I would say like 30% of the drama is there. You say more?
I'd give it like a 40 or 50.
Okay, I say 30.
I wouldn't say 30.
I guess like because I'm never involved in the drama, but I just know about it all.
People in architecture school, it's like a close, tight-knit group of people.
So, like, back to high school, now I remember what was I going to say. So, because it's kind of like a high school, it's like people kind of created their own kind of groups. Yeah. They're like, oh, yeah, everybody talks to each other. There's no, like, beef between people. I feel like everybody tries to talk to each other like normal, try to be good classmates. Yeah. But there's, like, different type of friend groups, definitely. I would say, like, 3 types. There's definitely 3 types.
I'm going to just agree with you, but I have no idea what kind of types you're talking about.
Well, do you think there's 2 groups only?
Oh, you're talking about if there's 3 groups or 3 types of groups?
No, 3 groups or like.
I
would say like there's
no,
like
you're right.
Groups
I think that within the 20 people we had.
No. I'm talking about like the whole architecture like year. I feel like there's like 3 different groups.
I can see. Yeah.
3 given 4 maybe. But there's like 3 different groups, and I was definitely part of like 1, maybe 2. But then I'm going to Spain. Those people weren't the people that I hang out with the most. But then I came back, and now I have like the whole architecture department on my side. Yeah. Basically, pretty much. I feel like everybody. I talk to everybody.
That's true. I also talk to a lot more people than I did before.
Now you have
Spain.
Me, and I connected you with the rest.
Thank you. That's true. I did not have architecture friends my first 2 years. So I didn't really know.
Terrible.
Well, yeah, but
I started making architecture friends my second semester of freshman year.
I didn't, honestly, I was just really, when I wasn't in I didn't go to, I'm the type of person, okay? Mm-hmm. This is really probably weird for people to say. I did not do my studio work in studio.
I did all my studio work in studio.
I did it all in my dorm in first year, and then I did it all in my studio apartment in second year.
I couldn't because I feel like because of my roommates, I didn't want to bother.
That's why it was great to do it in an apartment alone.
Yeah.
Great
for you, but
because
didn't have that luxury, guys.
Here's the thing, though, is that if I was in studio, I'm such a yapper. And I'm like, because
we can tell.
I know. I'm kidding. It's been 30 minutes. We haven't even talked about why we got into architecture. God, yeah. But no, we're
going back to how we met.
That's true. But I feel like I'm such a people person. I just really like knowing what everyone else is doing. I just really like interacting with people. Mm-hmm. And so like I had to put myself in my studio apartment to actually get any work done, because if I was in studio and I would be like, and people are asking me like, oh, what I'm doing, I can get carried away and talk about anything. And like, luckily though, I didn't do that while I was on co-op, but I did really enjoy my coworkers. But I feel like because everyone's kind of like doing their own thing and you're not working on like, you're doing different iterations of the same project, it feels more like teamwork. And that was nice. That was really, really nice. I really miss co-op right now.
I don't. There's too much free time. We'll get into that. Co-op experiences. Well, I do
we have to start applying soon.
No, I do think. Wait, next year. Okay.
No, we have to start applying like next semester.
Yeah, next semester is next year.
I know, but I'm already stressed out about it.
No, stop. No, I love my co-op experiences. Everybody that I work with was amazing. I truly learned so much. I don't necessarily want to go back. It's not because of the people or my experience. It's because I feel like because of the place I was as in a person. Yeah. We'll get to an episode of that. But just wanted to say I miss everybody from co-op. I'll hopefully be swinging by to say hi for sure.
Oh, I should do that. Yeah. I genuinely get curious of like how the projects I worked on are doing.
Oh, that is true.
I would love to see those projects built. I think they would be amazing.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting for me too. Also.
So.
Yeah.
Now you know who we are. You know us.
Oh, and that how we met.
We hope you love us. So, Aysha.
Yeah.
Why'd you get into architecture?
Why me?
Because I went first the first question we asked. And I'm trying to be nice and fair.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're fair. So basically going back to I wanted to do politics. I'm very much a person that takes what is around me very seriously. I'm definitely someone who voices her opinions on stuff. My parents come from humble beginnings, and I think that kind of propels me to having to do something that will help people. Like, that was the whole premise in my family of, like, whatever she does, she's going to help people, you know? So that really stuck with me growing up, that whatever I had to do had to impact people in a positive way. So I thought at the time that politics was the way to go. And I still think maybe someday you'll see me as president of my country. We'll never know.
You have so many options. You have so many doors that are open to you.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry, that sounded sarcastic. It absolutely wasn't. I have so much faith in you.
Oh,
you can do anything.
I think maybe we'll see. That's like in a, presidents are like very old. I'm too young.
So you have time. You have multiple lives to live.
Yeah.
This life you can be an architect.
No,
Next life
exactly.
you can
Architecture
be
is
in politics.
I'm gonna get to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna get to the point where why architecture.
Okay.
It's like this intersection.
Oh, I'm so excited. I don't think I've ever heard this story, so.
I feel like it's just like things I thought about,
Yeah, but it's so interesting.
It's not a real life story. Okay. So this thing of helping people really stuck with me, and then I was like, then I should do politics. I'm a Model UN.
Yeah.
The debaters and like all that stuff. I was one of them. I went to competitions, won some of them, lost some of them.
Happens to the best of us.
But I was really, really, really getting into it. I was really doing a lot of community service. I was trying to find myself on what issues I could potentially relate and hopefully help people with. But then I just like watched shows with my mom of like people constructing homes and like stuff like that. And
I used to watch those so much.
And my mom and I would just talk about it and we'd like criticize stuff like that. And we're like, this and this and that. But then I think living in Latin America gave me a very, very different perspective on nepotism. Everybody I was surrounded in high school had a way into politics. Like, they had like someone, like their uncle, like their dad or something like that could get them into politics, or like they had a business and they're like the biggest manufacturing like company probably. So I was like really disappointed about the system that Latin American has in politics. And sometimes you don't necessarily have to go into politics to make a change. I moved around a lot, and I grew up in the very different type of houses. Like, when I'm telling you different houses, I'm telling you like maybe like a low income neighborhood, because my parents didn't have much when I was growing up. Low income neighborhoods to like I got to live now in a very good neighborhood. Now my parents like have a lot of assets, and now they're doing very well, and that's because of their efforts. But they were very lucky people to get the opportunity of being where they are at right now. And I got to see that change, because I went from having to live in a very small house with like my mom's siblings and parents, which are my grandparents, to like living in a house where everybody has their own room. I never had that until like later on in life. So I really got to see that change. And as I said, my parents were lucky. Not a lot of people get that opportunity. It isn't even an opportunity. It's like you trying to like really, really hard, like to find those opportunities. So I think that's why I really wanted to do politics. But then it's this thing of like, is there a career where I can ultimately help people who are also in the situation that I grew up once, you know? And I'm not saying that I didn't have a great childhood. I did. The type of home that I was living was in absolutely great in every, like, it fulfilled everything I needed. I'm not saying that I was like, you know, but I did grow up around people that did not have much. So I think architecture was this getaway of thinking how design really affects people's life every day. There's this thing in Latin America, at least in Nicaragua, where they do this public housings where like they try like mass build like public housing for people, and I feel like people get really excited about it and they like want to like get a chance of having a home and like not having to pay a lot of money for it. But then you look at those projects and you realize like the governments don't care about the type of projects they're doing. These projects are bare minimum a home. They're not good for people. I feel like people just think and you just put a roof over and 4 walls and a door and that's a home, and it's not. So I think that really got me into thinking how much architecture actually impacts our daily lives, infrastructure, like the pedestrian walkways, like all that stuff really impacts the way you grew up, like the way you feel safe. Like I couldn't walk in many countries that I lived in because it was unsafe, or like unsafe because of robberies, or also unsafe because there's no like sidewalk. Like you can get run over by a car, you know? And a lot of people need this type of stuff to like improve their lives. I think if you have a good environment around you that like makes you be better as a person, and also it makes you have this mentality of like, maybe I can do better in life and maybe I can get resources out of my surroundings, you know? So I think that's why I really wanted to do architecture.
That is such an inspiring story.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, that's a really great reason behind doing architecture.
Yeah, I think I would not be fulfilled in life if I don't know if I'm currently impacting someone's life. So that's another thing about co-op that I realized, that I think I wouldn't be happy if I wasn't helping people that didn't have anything. Yeah.
Wow. You're such a good person for that.
I guess some people say I'm a very bad person and I'm so mean, but I have a heart.
That's different. That's like, our humor is very similar.
Yeah.
That like,
I'm very sarcastic.
Yeah, it's very, but you know when you're like, you have a friendship that you feel like you're so solid in that friendship that you can like not like poke fun at them and it's fine.
Oh yeah.
Like when you're just like,
yeah.
We have a friend who at the beginning of the year, like over the summer, he had like bleached his hair like to a yellow tint.
They bleached their hair?
No, it wasn't like bleached. It was like they colored. I think they got like highlights or something.
I thought it was
and
the
I
sun.
Was like,
wasn't
what
the sun?
Happened to your hair?
Are we thinking of the same person?
Yes. No, but like I
thought it was the sun.
No.
Oh, they actually went to a salon. Ooh. I'm
saying the overarching picture here is to say that like
you made fun of him.
No. The point. Well. Yes, but the point of the story is that I'm saying like our sense of like just because like I'm comfortable with you and I'm okay like if you like I don't know poke fun at like wow I look really tired or something like that, like if you tell me that, I won't take that personally because that's just how our friendship is, but that doesn't make you a bad person.
Well, that's the truth. If you look tired, you look tired.
That's true, and it's probably because of architecture. So
I'm being mean. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, why you chose architecture.
It's such a boring story compared to yours.
Mine is not a story. It's just a way of thinking.
Mine's a story.
Okay. Then let's go ahead. I think it would be more interesting.
I don't know. Well, okay. Flashback to...
Going back
to 7th grade Justine.
7th grade Justine?
7th grade Justine.
Oh my God. I figured architecture when I was like in high school.
7th grade Justine knew where it was at. Going to middle school at a French middle/high school.
Of course, French.
Yeah. But this was before I transferred over to an English high school because they had a better math program, actually. Because thank you to my grandfather for instilling the love of math into my system. It's like in my bloodstream now. But in 7th grade geometry, my gosh, our 7th grade math and science teacher.
Of course, going back to math.
Yeah, it all connects.
It's
all rooted in math.
It's given sad, dude.
Okay, because what we had to do is like 7th grade, and our teacher is teaching us about like how to calculate all these different areas of different shapes, and kind of like talking about, you know, how these shapes are incorporated in everyday life. And she gave us an assignment that was like, everyone go home and go make yourself a floor plan, and I want the areas of all these different rooms. And I was like, okay, this sounds awesome. And so I went home
as a 7th grader. I'm scared. I'm scared of this assignment.
Why? I was so excited.
I would be excited, but I'd be so scared.
But like, you're putting a triangle next to like a square, and then you're like, this is room A, this is room B.
Okay.
But I took this way too seriously, and then I started color coordinating. I started saying like, oh, this room, like associating, like saying like labeling, this one's the bathroom, this one's the bedroom, all this kind of stuff. And I like spent hours like on my living room floor just with this big rollout sheet of paper with like a ton of different iterations, and I was like, this is so much fun. And my mom at like 11 p.m. walks down and is like, hey, you ever considered architecture? And I was like,
what's architecture?
What is architecture?
Yeah.
And she was like, I'll tell you tomorrow. It's 11 p.m. Go to bed. Sleep. Because I was 13 at the time.
Love that kind of mom.
And so I was like, okay. And then I went to bed. But before I went to bed, I looked up on my phone what architecture is and what an architect does. And I was like, light bulb moment, like flashbacks of my entire life. I'm like, my life is going to be leading to me being an architect. And that was my story.
I love this story.
But that's like what started me, because like ever since that moment, I had been pretty much planning out my life so that I could accomplish the goal of being an architect.
That sounds great.
Yeah. So it's
so much more planned out than me.
I am nothing if not planned. I think my personality is just
agree with that.
Being organized.
It's okay, because I also do think a lot about my organization of like do you know the question of like, what are you doing it? How do you see yourself in 10 years? No. You don't understand. How do I see myself tomorrow? That should be the question.
I have the answer to the 10 years question.
I have the answer to the tomorrow, tonight, to the in 10 years, to in 5 years, to in 2 years. I really do, because I do have to have it planned out.
That's fair.
I'm an international student. I'm here on a visa.
Same. Wait, that's kind of a good lead up to the. Well, actually, before I say this, because I've had questions just like, I guess, stirring in my mind. But I have my first question, I guess, as a lead up to this, or as a post why architecture, is why Northeastern? Like, why Northeastern architecture?
Difficult. She's at big brain.
Yeah.
If you didn't see the video, she's like literally pointed at her like with her finger to her like
temple.
Yeah. Just saying.
Big brain.
Big brain.
Also, I apologize.
You go first. Me? I went first.
Oh,
you go first.
Well, also I'd like to apologize because I am my mother's daughter. Sound effects run in my blood, so I feel like I will just do random sound effects to just add to any story ever, like because that's what my mom does. Okay, well, why Northeastern? And I have to give all of the credit in the world to my parents for this one. Because
they're the sponsors.
Yeah, pretty much, actually, yeah. But so my dad is kind of like a hometown celebrity. My dad he left his hometown to go play hockey. He went to Cornell on a hockey scholarship and got drafted in the NHL and is now a dentist, which is like such a right turn. But like, he is such a kick-ass dentist. He's a fantastic dentist. Anyways, but so he went to Cornell on a hockey scholarship.
Cornell is impressive, by the way.
Yeah. No, like
shout out to your dad.
Shout out to my dad. He's lived many a life.
Impressive man.
He is a very impressive person. So he went to Cornell, and his parents allowed him to do that, and he has always like kind of drilled it in me that like his parents are the reasons that he got to do that, and that he probably would not be where he is now because of his parents, aka my grandparents. And so he had told me, because he was able to experience university in the US, and then he also continued his college education like in Canada as well, because for dentistry school, but he wanted to go back to practice in Canada, so he wanted to do his dental, he wanted to go to dental school in Canada, which I can't blame him for. That's the same reason I want to go to do my master's in architecture in Canada too. So but basically,
we'll miss you.
Not if you come with me. But basically, he got to compare American universities to Canadian universities, and he always told me, like, you're going to be a legacy, like, you'll get to go to Cornell too. Basically, he got to experience life in an American university and life in a Canadian university, and he told me, like, you know what, I'm really just yanking your chain. You don't actually have to go to Cornell if you don't want to, but if you have the chance to go to an American university, you should definitely take it. And I asked him, like, what is the big difference? Like, it's just, like, it's a higher level education. Like, is there that much of a difference? And he goes, you will never meet anyone who's more proud of their university as people who go to university in the States. And I was like, that's crazy. And the thing is like, you gotta love Canadian universities, but there's not really that much school spirit, which is really upsetting, because it's like the school spirit that you have here. Yeah. And the school spirit that you have in the US is bonkers. It's crazy. And it's bonkers. It's so much fun. Like, I'm pretty sure that my social life for the first 2 years of university was me going to hockey games.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
Hockey.
Can you blame me? That's true, but
it's such a shame you don't watch soccer.
Okay, well, that's the difference. I have the option.
Football.
The difference is I have the option. I just choose not to. So, yeah. So, when college applications were coming, COVID had hit. And therefore, SATs were not legible. And honestly, that really... Because I always wanted to go to university in the U.S. Like, that was very much... a goal of mine, and it was because of like what my dad had mentioned, saying like you're gonna have a better experience there, which is absolutely true. But then I was getting kind of like cold feet, and I was like, you know what, like it would kind of just be easier to like just stay in Canada. And then COVID hit, and then we weren't able to do any SATs. Like the only SATs that were scheduled near me got canceled, and I was like, well, I don't know what this means.
I love that this is going back to SATs,
because I wanted to do it, and I had the SAT handbook, which I opened maybe once or twice, but I was like, I was getting cold feet, man. Like I was really nervous that I wasn't going to do well in the SATs. I put a lot of pressure on myself.
Yeah.
And then I was like, should I just pull the plug on everything and just stay in Canada?
No!
That's when COVID hit, and that's when we didn't have to do any SATs for a lot of schools. And I said, you know what? This is like my sign. This is like, I gotta do it. Like, I'm gonna regret not doing it.
Yeah.
If I don't do it. And so I applied to all these different schools, Northeastern being one of them. And it came down to, because I was really close to going to the University College of Dublin.
great university.
Really, really close. And the only thing that stopped me from going, because I'm a traveler. Basically, the only, like, Northeastern had a wonderful program that we will definitely touch upon many a time, because it has 2 co-op semesters, it has a semester abroad semester, it has a bachelor of, you graduate with a bachelor of science, so it's awesome. Yeah. Like, it's really cool. Yeah. So,
it's also cool for internationals.
It is really cool for international students. Yeah. And so Northeastern was my top choice in the States. And it was really 50-50. It was touch and go for a second whether I was actually going to come here or go to UCD. But then
not UC Davis.
Sorry, yeah, UC Dublin. Sorry.
Let's clarify for the Americans.
Sorry, UC Dublin. But the thing that kind of made it like I had to go to Northeastern was, one, I love Boston. Like, I'd been to Boston before, and I had told my parents, like, oh my God, I really, really love it there. Like, it's such a nice city. I could see myself living there.
It is such a nice city.
In 10th grade that I took this trip, that I was like, I love Boston. And the other thing was that Northeastern is accredited in the States and in Canada, and UC Dublin was not.
Oh.
So UC Dublin, they had accreditation throughout Europe, but they didn't have it. It was kind of unclear whether they had accreditation in Canada.
Yeah, their European universities are sometimes very unclear until like you get into them, and then they explain everything. But
so
they are not very clear about their stuff.
So I got into Northeastern, accepted Northeastern, and then I think originally I had actually applied as architectural studies. Really? And then I transferred before starting, because I was like, I don't want to do art studies. I want to do architecture. Yeah, I did.
Oh, then you applied for architecture, I think.
No, because I talked to Dean of the College of Architecture, man, Dan Adams.
Hopefully we'll have him in the podcast. I love that man.
Everybody loves that man.
He's like, he was my professor. I want to say, Dan, if you're watching this, you're like one of my favorite professors that I've had.
That extends to everybody in architecture.
My college career. Yeah. I gotta say, I would love to have you here.
So my parents were directly emailing Dan Adams.
Oh my God.
And they were like, how do we get this girl into architecture? But basically Dan said, no, she got into Northeastern, so she can switch among any major you want. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to reapply for architecture, because I don't know why architecture studies was what I ended up like applying as. But anyways, so before even starting my
that's so interesting, because I was very, very careful to not apply to architectural studies.
I didn't know. So I don't know what happened, because I was like, you know what, architecture is like what I'm going to do, Bachelor of Science in Architecture. I also did not want to do architecture studies, but then
great major, not for what I want though.
Yeah, same. I think that architecture studies is just a lot more broad with what you can do after your master's, and if you do like a Bachelor of Architecture or Bachelor of Science in Architecture, they're
just different.
Yeah. But anyways, so that's how I ended up at Northeastern, and boy, was my dad right, because I have visited many Canadian college campuses, and they're very pretty and they're very nice, but I don't think I've ever heard as much like pride as I have when I'm like at a university in the US, which I think is so cool.
Such an American thing.
Oh yeah, which you can't see that in Canada. You don't see that as much in Canada. The only time I've seen it relatively like close is that there's been, so like I'm from Ottawa, Canada. There are 2 universities in Ottawa, Canada.
Yeah.
And it's Ottawa University and Carleton University.
Yeah.
And so those 2, they get together. They each have a football team. And I think this happened like maybe 2-3 weeks ago. But every year they have this thing called a panda game, because I think Carleton is black and Ottawa use white.
Interesting.
So they call it the panda game.
Yeah.
And so every year the 2 universities get together.
We have underwear runs.
That's true, but we have bean pot. Oh my God, Aysha.
I'm so sorry, guys.
So,
like, what she's talking. Oh, bean pot is okay. I know what it is, guys. I obviously know what bean pot is. Okay. Have I been? No.
No, that's fine. But at least you know what it is.
Yeah.
It's not even like. You just have to know that as a Northeastern kid.
It's just like a hockey thing, guys. It's just like a.
Don't minimize it. Hello.
Okay, for
it is Northeastern.
Please explain it in like simple terms.
Okay,
and don't overhyped it.
It should be overhyped.
I don't think
it is so much fun. But okay, basically what it is that Northeastern, Boston University, Boston College, and Harvard all get together once a year and they play each other in hockey. And my God, is it fun? Because
Northeastern wins every single time.
They've won, I think it's like 5 in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
They're very good in bean pot. Yeah. Well, a lot of the people that like have played have recently graduated, and also I don't incoming people. It's really weird for me. I don't know anybody from I don't know the roster by heart, and I usually know everybody's like numbers and names.
So
and
weird
stuff.
For me. I never knew the roster by heart.
But back to Canada versus the US real quick. But they have their Panda game, and they pack out the stands of like a field called like TD Center, or not TD Center. No, TD Center, but not TD Garden, which is here in Boston. Yeah. But like TD Center is where like our Canadian football team plays. And so they pack it out, and it's I've heard it's fun. I've never actually been able to go because it's during the school year, but like they have that, and then no one ever talks about any games ever other than that. And then here, Matthews Arena is very busy throughout the year.
It's
very
our
consistently
hockey stadium
throughout the year. Yeah. So, and it's the same with like if you go to Boston College, they have very busy football games.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
That's the only I don't really know any, and I don't know to compare with all the other ones.
Boston is such a
Boston is also a sports town. Boston is definitely a sports town.
Yeah, it is, but I was just going to say it's a higher education town.
College town?
College town.
Yeah. No, it's so I think I made a great decision. Okay, so we've gone to why I did Northeastern.
Yeah. I'll keep mine short and sweet.
Okay. Mine was very much not short and sweet. I apologize for that one.
No, but it's your story to tell.
Well.
Maybe it's not going to be short and sweet. We'll see. I take a little longer to talk. Apologies. But, so my parents didn't go to college. Like, your dad went to college. I don't know. Your mom went to college, too. Yeah.
Well, she's a nurse practitioner. Yeah, she went to...
Smart person.
Three?
My parents are smart, too. You don't need to go to college to be smart.
It's true.
But they didn't go to college, obvious reasons. They couldn't afford it. They've worked their whole lives, barely finished high school. So my process with college was a little weird because I always knew that I wanted to do study outside of Latin America, just because of like my ambitions of trying to like figure out my life on my own, and also like learning from a more, I guess, I won't say advanced, because I feel like when people say advanced country versus like a third world country, they see Latin America as like they don't have anything. We have a lot of stuff. Architecture is a very big thing. I just don't feel like it is right now. We should bring it back. But we're also advanced. Okay, we have all the things we need. But we can always do better, you know? And to do better, you gotta learn from other countries. So I was very in between Europe or the US or Canada, actually. Canada was one of my options too. So I did IB, so International Baccalaureate for the people that don't know. Very hard, very worth it though. And then I just started looking at universities. I couldn't really get anything out of my parents of like experience, and no one that surrounded me had gone to college in terms of family. So it was really a thing of going on my own. I'm the oldest daughter, so like I couldn't even ask a sibling. So I kind of went through the process alone. The only support I had like was my school, I guess, and then asking questions about schools, and like I had to research a lot by myself, and I had to do it mostly by myself and like make the decision on my own. Thank you for my parents who literally were so supportive through the process of me choosing the school I wanted to go to. But I like did it pretty much by myself, researched universities, saw that architecture, like I didn't want to do architectural studies, so Northeastern had architectural like science degree, whatever, technology.
which is cool because not a lot of places have like a Bachelor of Science in architecture. Most of them are a Bachelor of Arts.
Yeah, like Harvard is like art studies.
I'm pretty sure that BU is Bachelor of Arts.
BU is art studies too.
Yeah, it's 4 years.
Because I was going to apply there, but I didn't end up applying there. But I apply different universities in the U.S. and I apply in Canada and I apply in England.
Where in Canada did you apply?
I applied to the Vancouver University.
UBC? Oh, that's a great school.
It is a great school. I wanted to. That was really one of my options of going.
Yeah.
It's
more landscape design though.
No, I know.
Because I also applied to that one.
I know, but it's so beautiful. Like
it is a very pretty campus.
Very, very beautiful. Yeah. But I'm a city girl. Well, it's like
Vancouver.
It's a city, but
that's a pretty big city for Canada.
But it's kind of like on the edge, you know. It's kind of like their landscape.
You're not a West Coast person.
So I was really in between a university in England, after all, and a Northeastern. So the university in England was Portsmouth University. You guys probably know about it. It's a pretty big school, pretty good school. But then I think something overcame me, and I was like, well, I don't know if I can go to England. I kind of have to be in a city. At one point in my life, I was like, I'm never going to go to the U.S. I could never be there. But I guess I mature. And then I was like, okay, let me think. And I've been to Boston before for summer camp. This is a boarding school.
Wait, you said summer camp. What?
Yeah, I went for summer camp to a boarding school. Yeah, in Mass.
Okay.
And they like brought us to Boston, but like I only went to a museum. I literally saw nothing from Boston except for my way to the airport and my way. Yeah, pretty much. So I was like, well, it looks like nice enough, and I didn't really research the weather or like I didn't really think of all that. I come from hot weather.
First mistake.
Beach, really nice blue waters.
Also, the fact that your two options weather-wise were Boston and England.
Yeah, I know. But then
my God.
No, but this is one of my decisions of why I went to Boston was, Boston has better weather than Portsmouth in England, which is crazy because now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably almost the same.
No, Boston has
we do get more sun, but yeah, I think it was like mostly co-op. Because I was like international.
That's a big one.
Yeah, I'm an international student. I really wanted to get the opportunity. Like, if I was going to go to the U.S., I had to go to make the most out of it, and co-op was offering that for me.
I think that after graduation, having co-op in your pocket is huge.
Yeah, it is.
Because you have at least some type of experience.
Imagine only 20 people of us got hired.
I know.
For an internship.
Because actually people are going through applications like right now.
Yeah, the other group. Which they're going to split us again.
Yeah.
It's
which
so
sucks.
sad. Wait, but it makes sense because if they put us all together to apply,
no one would have gotten a co-op. No one would have gotten a co-op.
Only like 5 lucky people.
That's okay.
But yeah, I think co-op was major. Also, Boston is like kind of cool city. I was like, I guess I didn't research it enough, but I was like, it's cool enough with me. At the time, I didn't really like New York City because I was like, I would feel so overwhelmed there.
Yeah.
Because
fair.
being new to a city is so overwhelming. Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to be alone. I don't think I can do New York City. I love New York City now, but I could live there now.
I don't think I could live there.
I used to think I could never live there, but now I think I could. Boston was like, it's like a little more slower than New York for sure.
Yeah. And there's a lot of working professionals. That's what when my parents have come to visit, my dad said he really likes Boston because you just see a lot of working professionals.
Yeah, so. it's a college town. Everybody here in Boston is educated, like higher educated. Most, but I feel like
it's a great city.
There's opportunities for sure.
Yeah, there are, especially like look at this like Seaport or downtown. Like that's buzzing with business opportunities, with different like so many different startup companies. Like it's a really
we just need
nice area.
Better public transport, please.
Oh my gosh, don't get me started.
But we'll talk about that. I actually made an episode.
You know what? Listen,
let's get on an episode because I cannot make you rant.
No, right because I have opinions. However,
I love public transport. I actually
absolutely adore the Boston public transportation.
No, me too.
And it's because of the lack of the one I have back home.
No, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's the lack of not being able to walk in my country and like not move alone in my country with public transport that makes me love.
Okay.
Public transport here.
I think that's a good start to our.
I think we cover everything.
I think we did cover everything.
We covered most of it.
Yeah. Because of the wonderful people we are, we will not edit much.
And
I think there's some stuff that we should cut though.
Oh, and this one, yeah. Well,
but
you talked in the middle.
I did.
You were like, we need to cut this.
I know.
Okay.
That's because I know we have the power of editing.
We should do our outro.
What the hell is our outro?
Well, thank you guys for listening to our podcast. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I did.
Me too.
Okay.
You're a lovely co-host to have.
Thank you so much for listening, and
we will see you next week.
Yeah, this is Off the Rails.